First of all, y'all gotta explain this album cover, cause what? I had to put extra pixelation on it just to show that image. Don't be surprised by the thumbnail, okay? That's not... Alright, it is mine. It's mine. Alright. Just start making the thumbnails before I record these videos. That makes everything so much easier. Yes, I exposed myself for a thumbnail. Get over it. Now, oh god, I'm still listening to SZA. Shoot. Death Grips is an experimental hip-hop group, a vocalist being MC Ride, whose delivery is so aggressive and out of this world, I question if he's even from here or not. But we've got another project to listen to. I've gotten through Exmilitary, I've gotten through the Money Store, I've gotten through Bottomless Pit, and now we're about to tackle No Love, Deep Web. I will finish Death Grips' discography before 2018 is out, and then I'll discuss them as well. One of the few groups out there that's able to get away with the gimmick of screaming, and people actually give it the excuse that it's supposed to sound like that. Of course they do their job well enough, but I do still think that people not admitting that the screaming and the blah 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 blah, oh no, blah 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 blah. I think people need to come off their high horse for a second and just say, yeah, the screaming is a little bit of a gimmick. Not that there's not a point to it within their discography, but if anybody else did that, they'd be like, oh man, you're just screaming. I've given them the theme that they've been giving me since I started listening to their projects, which is MC Ride is portraying this individual that's insane and paranoid and off the wall and doesn't trust anyone and is primal. But I wonder if that's going to be the theme for their entire discography, because if that's going to be the motive for why people say that they are one of the craziest hip-hop groups and the theme that runs through them is the fact that they're just paranoid, how long is that going to last? Just me asking the question. I mean, I'm not one to talk really. I'm listening to an album that was released in 2012, I believe. But still, you answer me that. Track number 1, Come Up and Get Me. Buckle up, kids. Let's go for a ride inside the stomach of a dinosaur on Mars. Alright, that's cool. I'll lay off. Alright, you ruined it. The drums in this are just so good. First track, very energetic, very upbeat, very fast paced, very urgent, I would say. Very dangerous. I would say it's a very dangerous first track, especially since MC Ride seems to be in the second verse telling somebody not to step to them or pretty much he's gonna kill you. I heard him say, forget the truth. It's a waste of his time. I don't know if that's to say like the truth has no impact on how he thinks or how paranoid he is, so not to waste his time by telling him. One thing I'll give them credit for though is like they make it really easy for you to picture them in a scenario where he's like an animalistic individual that's put himself in the place of total solitude. Next track, Lil Boy.
You know we burn through it. We ain't taking turns to it, turns to it.
Oh my god. Okay.
Burn through it. We not taking turns to it.
This is dope. Listen to everything that's happening. Everything's so fast paced. One line in here where I think is gonna like describe the point of the album is where he says, I'm inside my TV where everyone but I can see, meaning like he feels like he's watched all over the place. But he never said the TV was on. It just seems like he's in a place of darkness and everyone else is watching him and he feels that people are watching him. But since he can't see them, that adds even more to the paranoia. Who's pulling up? Who that boy? Track number 3, No Love. Okay. All right, I get it. Stop hitting me. Stop. He sounds like he's in a bathroom stall. What is going on? I feel like I've heard this before. Oh! I'm trying so hard to pay attention to what he's saying while this is going on. Like I feel like turning up too, but I'm like I can't completely get out of my seat or anything because I want to hear what he's talking about too.
You can't dismiss the sick transmission, huffs your brain. It's snitch talk can kill you. Quarterback consume you. Too many.
Oh God.
Asking if I know I'm a motherfucker.
into cannibalism, I see. Or maybe he's on stage. I take back what I said. I think he's on stage. God, he's mixing so well with the instrumental. I don't know, maybe that adds to the idea, if he is on stage performing this song, maybe it adds to the idea that in his head people are watching him, people are in the crowd, but they're really not. There's no crowd, there's no audience screaming, there's nobody shouting back at him, it's just him, and you can hear him on stage. He's on stage performing for an audience that doesn't exist. Track number 4, Black Dice.
Pentagrams, left hand catch them dicks by them brain like the holes of a mentic.
Oh my God.
Carry on. Where are we?
He got faster.
Nothing for nothing. My oxidized gold shaft plugs your jugular with
fold a man into nothing for nothing. Why? We just got noited. That's what it was. We just got noited. Everything's so fast-paced and urgent and dark so far. I feel like this is the product of a man that's been in seclusion for far too long, and these are the instincts that come about after paranoia. Like, what else are you supposed to think if you're paranoid all the time? Track number 5, World of Dogs.
Listen free. It's all suicide to me. It's all suicide. It's all suicide. It's all suicide.
Oh my God. He's going whiplash on the. Okay. I mean, I don't think there's anything more to take from it than what he says. I mean, if it's all suicide, he's basically saying that it's nothing. It means nothing. It is nothing. Nothing belongs to anything. He's basically saying everything is pointless, and he views it that way. He doesn't want to be confined to anything. He doesn't want to do anything. If he's paranoid, then stability would completely be out of his mind. So any of the things that confine regular people to doing what they do daily, I feel like he's basically saying it's suicide. Like, why even try? Zach's drumming has to be like the best part of this track. He went completely whiplash in like the 20 to 40 second mark. He went completely whiplash. Track number 6, hide your kids, hide your wife, and lock your doors. It sounds like they're trying to recreate sounds in space. Track number 7, Whammy. Oh my God. Jesus. You're too much for me. This is such a school shooter album. Like, this is their soundtrack. We just slid in the Hunger Games. I'm scared. Okay. Yeah, well, you know, I expected this. Wait. What did he just say? Watch my back or I'll kill you. Who are you talking to? Yourself? What? Helicopter?
You need a lift? You can sit between the backseat and my dick. If the law catch me in the act, somebody killed me. I got that feeling.
No. Oh, okay. Yo, Zach, you need to chill out on these drums. It's less disconnected as one song and more just like one really long, cohesive idea. Since it's all paranoia, it's all seem to be full. It seems to all be full of rage. He's using all this energy to give so much aggression to this music, and then seems like he's upset that he has to do so, exhausted at some points, and then getting angry again, being paranoid. This is literally the worst combination, and it would make sense that at one point in this album he just completely commits seppuku. Track number 9, Deep Web.
Never stop chasing each other's faces. I'm the master separation.
Whoa. Wow. What? Hey, right? We don't have though. At this point, we've gotten to the idea that Ride may just be completely insane at this point and may have forgotten everything that he grew up learning. So he's discarding all information that he was conditioned to believe and now going with his own thought process completely. Men do not have Track number 10, Stockton. Okay.
I'm in kill hype, slap the steel life. You're blowing, I'm fucking minute ago. I've been through shit like Sodom. Instinct, man, no question. Loop me into
It's a great line, and then you think about it. Oh, how is it for people in Stockton? Do you guys really live like this? Because if you do, I'm never visiting. Track number 11, Pop. Oh. What is this? How do you go from being chased to this?
stay calm, you fight shit, I got a bump. My life been drunk, like your brother's your father, and your sister's your mother. Trendsetter, maximum, third planet from the sun.
What? It sounds nice though.
Off the chain, remind me of Wreck House.
I wanna give credit to whoever brought forward the synths on this project. Next track, Bass Rattle. Damn it. I was trying to do it without reading the title and see if I could remember. I couldn't. Bass Rattle stars Out the Sky. Relax. He's mixing his flows? My head's about to explode. Yeah, there's something strangely ominous about that track. All of these situations are like the modern day YouTube prank videos, like the clickbait videos that you see all over the platform now. It's like taking those situations to the extreme. Like Logan Paul's situation, for instance, right? Putting a body in his thumbnail, taking a situation that isn't supposed to be publicized or made into something that you can make content out of. This is kind of what they're doing. Everything can be turned into a song with these guys, using any sounds from anywhere to make the music. Some of the most untraditional music ever shows up here. The final track, Artificial Death in the West. How? He just said my name. I heard him.
My stargate in a vacuum monitors our view. This valley is an arm. This valley I'm waiting for. Come chasing after me for like the waiting to see a Vaseline. Everyone's a runaway. What you want to know? Artificial death.
I could say that final track was probably one of their most structured. I feel like at one point, you know, when Rice says watching them watch me, watching people watch him be paranoid and the people that he's watching aren't really there in the first place, leads to how discombobulated mentally he may be when describing himself on this album. The concept has been clear for quite a few albums now. I'm in my fourth one, so I'm not going to be as critical of this one, it being one of their earlier releases. And what I mean by that is I can't say the idea at this point in their career would have been repetitive, it being their, I believe, their second like actual public project. I don't know, somebody let me know in the comment because I'm not sure on that one, but I do know it was released quite a few years ago. I think one of the best ways to describe this project is mental erosion. I feel as though this is the concept or the meaning or the idea from an individual who's been conditioned to believe certain things coming up and now is untraining himself from everything he's been trained to think, believe, or behave like. That's why we get such rebellion and such animalistic behavior on projects like this. I feel like in a way it's a little bit of rebellion, and in a way it's also, as he says, paranoia. This album is very over suspicious, unstable, insecure, very energetic, and very hostile. Tracks that are way more catchy on this project, like Lil Boy, appear in the beginning half of it. Although there are a lot of discombobulated thoughts, emotions, and lyrics on this project, it doesn't really stick to a theme or a cohesive idea. As far as the sound is concerned, they're not using sounds that they used on the track before. Everything sticks to the exact same narrative of the project, which is paranoia, distrust, and a sense of solitude. But that doesn't show up instrumentally. Instrumentally, we're getting sounds from all over the place. The synths are amazing, they're crazy, they're experimental. Drum work from Zach is amazing. I know there's another member that I'm underrating at this moment, but I don't actually know his name, so I can't say, but he does an amazing job as well with the production. It's very rare that you get a group that knows how to carry an idea that can be repetitive without making their music formulaic. Everything has a new, fresh sound to it. Nothing really sounds like the track before. One of the more interesting parts about this project, I feel, is how Rye makes it impossible for you to offer any kind of advice with an individual who thinks like this and has this kind of mentality based off where he came from in the first place. having someone who was conditioned to believe a certain amount of things, because he seems to be aware of the state of the world. Like, he references other corporations, he references things that are current, things that happen. I mean, at the time it was 2012, but things that happened that were now, that were 20th century talk, not primal, not animalistic like he appears on the record when he's screaming sometimes. I feel like Rye presents himself as an individual who knows everything that you know, but decides to go against it anyway. And he makes it so that there's no advice that can be given to him on this project. He chooses to be crazy and animalistic and against the grain and rebellious despite everything that he knows. Not to say that he doesn't have this information embedded in his brain already, he's just decided to discard it. That to me is what makes this project a little bit more unique, is finally figuring out that Ride is an individual that is aware of his situation, but you can't really advise someone who's paranoid to not be paranoid. It's like asking a schizophrenic not to switch their personality. And the way he portrays this individual, or this character that he's playing, at least on the album, is someone who's trying to live with a condition. I mean, everything on this project leads to the idea that Wright might just off himself, but he never does. All this talk about taking other people out or putting other people in the grave or doing all these horrible things to other people, they never actually happen. Wright seems to be trying to cope with his paranoia and live with it. Because if he didn't want to live, at that point, why even continue discussing it? We would just hear a gunshot on one of these tracks and no more death grips. I feel like that's a healthy definition of at least Wright's contribution to this album. It's a paranoid individual who's trying to live in a normal world. As far as the album's structure, I would say it follows its pattern. It has an idea, it sticks to it without making the instrumentals repetitive. That being said, there are parts of this album that I still feel are a little bit gimmicky, like using the thought of someone being paranoid as an excuse to scream at certain points on this project. I like it, but I do think if it's going to be a reoccurring theme in their discography, that it's something that should be criticized. I mean, anyone can scream and give that as a reason as to why they may be letting off steam or why they may be letting off an emotion that's deep down inside. I do agree that they pull it off well enough, but not all the time. There's no need for him to be so inaudible at certain points, but the fact that this would not work without all three of them, it shows exactly how well they work together. Death Grips, No Love, Deep Web. It's been Shawn C. Thank you guys for watching. I'm definitely going to be listening to this a little bit more because this was an interesting one to me. I like it, and after listening to so much of their music so far, I think I have found kind of what they do, kind of like their lane where they exist. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up. If not, you know what to do. I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.